I'm joined here now with Angela Rooks-Trotzuk, the CEO of the Lloydminster Interval Home Society. And just how was 2021 for the Interval Home Society?
2021 has been challenging. 2020 was, of course, extremely challenging, and 2021 has proven to be very much the same. COVID continues to impact our day-to-day in all of our programs, in particularly our residential programs, because we have to ensure that we're following all of the proper protocols and keeping everyone who comes into our residential services as safe as can be. The pandemic continues to impact all of us. We were hoping, of course, in March 2020 that this would be a 4-month type of problem, but clearly 2 years later almost, we're still dealing with it. So that's been probably, like everyone else in the community, a challenge to continue to work through for sure.
And just what was some of the highlights this year for the Interval Home Society?
We were able to, even in amongst kind of still dealing with COVID, we were able to start utilizing our expansion space in the emergency shelter. So we're continuing to, or actually higher numbers of people were reaching back out to us to access our shelter services. So we were happy that we were able to continue to meet that increased demand as people felt more comfortable coming into congregate living as the pandemic kind of eased, and then of course it went back up again, as we know. So we were able to kind of continue to meet that demand, which has been good in all of our facilities. I think one of the highlights, for sure, we have two big ones, but the first one would be entering into an agreement with the city of Lloydminster to purchase the old Martin Brown site for land for a new shelter and new second stage facility. We're still working through the agreement, so the I's haven't been dotted or the T's crossed, but for all intents and purposes, it's a go. So we were certainly excited to have that finalized because it's been a very long process. So we're happy to kind of come to the end of that. And then the second one has been for the Interval store expansion. So the Interval store started in our volunteers garage many moons ago in the very early 90s, and transitioned into various different locations. And in our current location, we've been there since 2000, I think. No, 2006 maybe. Don't quote me. We've been there a long time, but we have expanded to another location across the street. So we'll have two locations for the Interval store. Our inventory and donations and receiving area will actually move just across the street, and our current location will be all retail. So we're really excited to be able to expand our operations there for sure, to meet the demand for community support and for our client support, but also to continue to ensure that the sustainability of the society for sure.
And speaking of that second location, when are you hoping that you will be able to fully utilize that space?
We're just wrapping up some of the final steps in construction. The construction process took longer than we anticipated, which isn't an abnormal thing to be dealing with at all. By the week of the 20th, we're anticipating, which isn't next week, we're moving in next week, and hopefully by the week of the 20th, we'll have a soft launch. And then we'll be able to do a further grand opening later in December into early January. But yeah, we're just waiting to get the final kind of little pieces done, and then we're moving all of our inventory from where it is now, which is our current location, over across the street, which is no small feat. The community supports us greatly with their donated goods, so it'll be a big job, but we're excited for it.
How was the year for the youth center and trying to get back to as normal as we could?
We're still not back to normal, whatever that is anymore. It's 2 years later, right? So we're certainly into new normal. Our center opened back up to youth last, I guess it would be in the fall when kids went back to school. We still are monitoring our numbers to ensure we can keep social distancing limits in effect there. But kids were really eager to get back into the youth center and are really glad to be physically back with us and back with each other in the center. We continue to offer online or virtual support for youth that can't get into the shelter, or youth that might have different needs that maybe aren't best met inside the shelter. So we continue to kind of adapt our services there. But yeah, kids are, and it's so nice, even from a staffing perspective. We're in the same building, we're just on the other end. So to hear the youth laughing and hollering and making noise and playing air hockey or football, it's pretty cool for us too to hear that liveliness again. So we're definitely grateful for that.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Angela.
Thank you. I mean, and we talked about community support a bit earlier, but I just want to issue a heartfelt thank you to everyone in the community who continues to support the Interval Home. Like I said, whether it's through time, through volunteering, your treasures, whether that be your dollars, your hard-earned dollars, and your talents, and whether you're helping to volunteer in our programs or doing gift in kind donations. And our partners as well, and our community supporters like you guys, continuing to talk to us and find out about what's going on and helping us to educate the community. I think just a great big thank you to everyone, because I know everyone is still trying to slog through COVID. At the end of it all, we're still trying to stay one or two steps ahead of falling behind. So it means a lot that people are still working with us.